Immigrants didn't take our jobs, the jobs moved overseas. Here's what happened. On the left hand side, we've got developed countries such as UK, European countries, America. On the right hand side, we've got developing countries such as India, China, Bangladesh, Vietnam. In the early 90s and late 90s, we had manufacturing sector in developed countries shut down factories and they moved their jobs to countries like China, Bangladesh, Vietnam. Why? Because it was cheaper to manufacture in China, and at the same time the cost of transportation was coming down. So we could have things made in China, have them shipped to a country like UK, and it would still work out significantly cheaper than if we were to make it in the UK. We also then had call center jobs that moved to India, IT jobs that moved there, IT technical support that moved. Why? Because India had a large pool of skilled labor and they were significantly cheaper, as well as the telecom cost was coming down. So 20 years ago, it used to cost us about, let's say, £1.50 pence a minute to make a phone call to another country. Over the years, that cost has come down to next to nothing. It's almost free to make phone calls. And that meant that if you're a business, why would you have somebody sitting in a developed countries and you're paying them, say, £20,000 a year to do a job that could be done by somebody in a developing country such as India, where they spoke standard English and they were significantly cheaper. And now your only high cost that you would have otherwise had would have been the cost of a phone call was now also cheaper. So it made perfect sense to then move your business or part of your business overseas. Now that had a huge impact on the people and the economies in developed countries. Why? Because when these jobs were being lost in manufacturing, in IT, in call centers, unemployment went up. Yes, it's true that some of these people would have been retrained to work in other sectors, but a lot of them weren't. A lot of them just didn't find jobs again. And that meant you had excess supply of labor on the market. So lots of people looking for jobs and not enough jobs. Now, if there are too many people looking for jobs and not enough jobs, what happens? You get wage drop. So reduction in wages. This can happen in two ways. Either the wages don't rise over the years, which means inflation is killing your money. Or what has also happened is that businesses have realized that now that there's a large pool of people looking for jobs, they've actually got rid of people who were in jobs for 20, 30 years and were on high salaries. So they got rid of those people and they have redeployed new people in the same jobs, perhaps with different job titles, but on new contracts. And new contracts mean significantly lower wages. And why wouldn't they do that when they know they can get somebody for cheaper? They're trying to make more money, essentially, reduce their cost. And at the same time, we've had issue whereby because developed countries have high standards of living, people have higher aspirations, not many people wish to do low-skilled jobs such as cleaning, hospitality, so that's your waiting staff, nurses, fruit pickers. Now, if you have low supply of labor, that means there are lots of jobs and not enough people wanting to do them. You're stuck as a business, as a country, as a government. So what do you then do? You can import labor from other regions. So that's what the governments have done, or the businesses have done. They have imported labor from developing countries. But when they come in, that's now seen as immigration. It's true that we've had immigration, but immigration has only come in because there was a vacuum of low-skilled jobs to be filled. So they've not taken jobs. They've only taken jobs that nobody else wanted. And the other jobs, such as manufacturing and IT, call centers, or even outsourcing, such as finance department to those developing countries, that has happened because they were just cheaper and they were better skilled, as well as the cost of transportation coming down and cost of making phone calls coming down. So a range of factors have contributed to this. Jobs have just moved to those countries, and people coming in from those countries are helping drive our economy, because if these low-skilled jobs weren't filled, lots of businesses would go under and it hurt our economy, our GDP.